Likeable gent, Glenn Johnson, a Miamian since age 14 by way of Jamaica. Classic example of tenacity and determination. He didn't win a world title till he was 35 in his 51st fight, his 4th try. The consummate pro, no matter how old he is, many would consider it a major accomplishment to beat him. It's been a slow road back, Al, and tonight we'll see if experience and maturity can negate youth and speed.
Yeah, and part of that experience for Johnson is his experience against left-handers. It's hard to believe 8 of his last 13 opponents have been lefties, and he's 7-1 versus southpaws. And even though he actually downplays it a little bit, Steve, I think that's a very significant statistic.
And he's suffered a bunch of what some might call hometown defeats on the road. Should probably have 4 or 5 losses, not 11. Still looks fit and great at 39, along the lines of another remarkable old-timer, Bernard Hopkins, the only man to stop Glenn Johnson. Well, he's emerged as one of the brightest young guns in boxing today. Undefeated Chad Dawson out of New Haven, Connecticut. The calm, mild-mannered WBC champ has shown special skills with an almost unlimited upside to this point, but he lacks that one defining victory. This is the night, Al. Chad Dawson can take a giant step closer to being the man at 175.
Yeah, and you know, one of the things that could make that happen, I think, is what he believes is better conditioning, because his strength and conditioning coach, Alex Murillo, has really upped his involvement for this fight. He literally lived with Chad, and Chad says that this will make him an even better conditioned fighter, which could be important against Johnson, who brings constant pressure.
Dawson insists he won't become the next Juan Diaz or Paul Williams, 2 young unbeaten phenoms who recently lost their titles to crafty veterans. Many feel because they were looking ahead to greener pastures. He says he is totally focused on the task at hand and hungry to prove he's the future of the light heavyweight division. Let's size them up as we check the tail of the tape. Obviously, age the focal point at 25. Dawson has 14 years on Johnson. The champion was 10 when Johnson turned pro in 1993. Dawson also has the height and reach, 4 inches taller, both well under the limit at yesterday's weigh-in. And the notable unified rules for this world title fight. There's no standing 8 count, no 3 knockdown rule. A fighter cannot be saved by the bell in any round. If an accidental headbutt causes a fight to end within 4 rounds, it's a no decision. After 4 rounds, they go to the scorecards. And if a punch causes a cut and the injured fighter can't continue, he loses by TKO. So here at the St. Pete Times Forum, we're getting ready for Chad Dawson versus Glenn Johnson for the WBC light heavyweight title. Let's get the formal introductions from our ring announcer, Jimmy Lennon Jr.
Ladies and gentlemen, a very good evening to you and welcome to the St. Pete Times Forum here in Tampa, Florida. As we have a big night of action coming your way, 2 light heavyweight world championship attractions, and it's brought to you by Gary Shaw Productions and Showtime. The first of our featured world title attractions is brought to you in association with Seminole Warriors Boxing and Bella Entertainment. It is sanctioned by the World Boxing Council. President Jose Suleiman, supervisors are Mike George and Bismarck Morales, along with the Florida State Boxing Commission. Now introducing to you our 3 judges, scoring from ringside, from Caracas, Venezuela, Nicolas Hidalgo. From Coral Springs, Florida, Peter Trematera. And from Montreal, Quebec, Canada, Jack Woodburn. Introducing to you our 3rd man of the ring, our referee in charge, hailing from Orlando, Florida, Frank Santori. All right, fans, here we go. 12 rounds of boxing for the WBC Light Heavyweight Championship of the World. Introducing to you first the challenger on my left, fighting out of the blue corner, wearing white trunks with dark blue trim, fighting out of Miami, Florida by way of Clarendon, Jamaica. He weighed in at a ready 172 1/2 pounds. With a record of 47 wins, 11 losses, and 2 draws, he has 32 wins coming by way of knockout. Having fought 7 world champions, he is the dean of the division and the former IBF light heavyweight champion of the world. Introducing Glenn Johnson. And his opponent across the ring, the defending world champion on my right, fighting out of the red corner, wearing camouflage trunks and hailing from New Haven, Connecticut. He weighed in at 173 3/4 pounds. He is undefeated in his campaign with a record of 25 wins, no losses, 1 no contest with 17 wins coming by way of knockout. Tonight, ladies and gentlemen, he is making the 3rd defense of his title. Here is the young star of the division, the undefeated WBC light heavyweight champion of the world, introducing Bad Chad Dawson. And ladies and gentlemen, our referee in charge now to give instructions. We have a correction. This is Tommy Kimmons, our referee, now giving instructions.
Go. Gentlemen, this is a 12-round fight for the WBC Light Heavyweight Championship of the World, and I gave you your instructions. I want to remind you, this audience is not here to see me referee. They paid to watch you fight, so let's keep it clean. Touch them up. I got it.
Dawson's mental toughness could be tested tonight. Johnson keeps coming and coming, and while Dawson has risen from the deck, he's never been in there with an old warhorse like Glenn Johnson. This could be an interesting fight. Johnson said he'll come out aggressively, keep a high work rate. It certainly worked well versus Jones and Tarver, although that was 4 years ago. Tommy Kimmons says, let's begin. The one big thing that could factor in, Johnson had some problems avoiding punches in a tune-up with a lefty clearly not in Dawson's league as Dawson goes right to the attack. We'll see if he can deal with Dawson's exceptional hand speed here tonight.
Glenn Johnson already in this first round showing the ability to keep his hands very high and kind of work his way in to cut the distance a little bit. And of course, Chad Dawson wants to use that jab to disrupt that movement inside by Glenn Johnson.
Both immediately throwing salvos to the body. Dawson, a natural right-hander who became a southpaw to emulate his dad, a former fighter who's in their corner. Exquisite right hook and double hook, dazzling combination, straight left hand like that. It's a beauty. Got a superb jab, and he is a tremendous body puncher, and he does it all with lightning speed.
You know, this ring is a very big, great straight left hand by Dawson. This is a big ring, and of all their fighters tonight, of all our 4 fighters, it probably is most important to Dawson. You see, he's giving some really good lateral movement to Glenn Johnson here in round 1. That's very important to him.
Johnson in the white trunks, steady, dependable, a grinder.
Don't hold his head.
Loves to keep the pressure on. Much more effective when he's in close. Digging to the body. And Dawson does not like it ugly.
We have 2 really good body punchers here, and Dawson has done some great work downstairs, as has Johnson. Dawson's been very sharp. Not surprising that Dawson would land a lot of punches early in this fight.
Dawson getting that right hand in, and now the right-left combination blocked. The right hand got into the head of Johnson. Johnson comes forward, lands a left. Johnson not a huge puncher, a volume puncher, and he's got that unique defensive posture. His right hand crossing over to the left side of his face, almost glued to the face. But I'll tell you what, here in the opening minutes, Johnson's tasting a lot of leather.
You can expect this to happen for a few rounds. Chad Dawson, a very sharp puncher, and Johnson often early in these fights will get whacked around.
Johnson, a good chin. He's never been down. Stopped only once in 60 fights by Hopkins. Big right hand on the top of the head by Chad Dawson. who is equally dangerous with both hands.
You know, I said it in the keys. Combination punching is like kryptonite to Johnson. And when Dawson throws those combinations, it freezes Johnson.
Dawson, the champion, looking very sharp here in the opening round. 20 seconds to go. The WBC light heavyweight title at stake. Good right hand that got in by Johnson.
That's the punch he wants to land. Twice, Dawson's been dropped by that punch in fights.
Dawson dropped by Adamek and Harding, and they are going at it in the center of the ring. Oh, good exchange there just before the bell.
Good work. Good job, Terry. Water. I need the water. Hey, keep stepping around. Stop going straight back. Just keep stepping around. And work to the body, because he's giving you the body. He's trying to cover up the head, but he's giving you all the body. Bend your legs and slip and dig. Dip and dig. But the jab is the key. Keep on outside.
The hand speed.